give me and Scott a nice round of applause. And
here you go, Scott. All right. Well, I'm going to try to live up to that smattering of applause. Thank you all so much. So everybody, I'm from the City of Murrieta. I'm the Economic Development Director. I'm from the government. I'm here to help, as Reagan likes to say. So I don't know if you all know a lot about the City of Murrieta. Has anybody ever been to Murrieta before? Well, then I got nothing left to say. Mic drop, we're out. So Murrieta is a city in southwest Riverside County, has none of the demographics. I always like to say if Riverside County and San Diego County fell in love, got romantic, had a baby, it would be Murrieta. So we've got land, workforce, all the cool things that happen in Riverside County. We've got the pricing of Riverside County, but we've got all of the education rates of San Diego County. So we've got all the good stuff that's going on in San Diego County. And so we're very excited about what we've got going in our area. Riverside County gets a little bit of a bad rap. What do you think of when you think of the workforce and the type of jobs that are being created in Riverside County? What comes to your head? Let's talk as a group, because me talking the whole time is not going to be very fun. What do you think of Riverside County? What do they employ? What do they do? Distribution warehouses, transportation. Okay, does anybody think of genomics, biotech, medical device manufacturing? That's what we focus on in Murrieta. So most of our workforce came from San Diego. Several years ago, we started really focusing on healthcare. If you go through Murrieta, you'll see that Loma Linda University Medical Center built the first major medical campus outside of San Bernardino County in Murrieta. It's because we zoned for that, and we really try to plan for being the medical harbor of that of the area. And then Kaiser came down, and they put in a major center. Right now, they're in phase 2, which is an ambulatory surgery center, but they've also got a medical office building, and now they're going to build a hospital. And then we got on to Rancho Springs, which is a UHS hospital. If you go up and down the corridor of the 15 freeway, you see Corona Regional, and Wildamar's got a big Rancho Springs hospital, Southwest Healthcare, and Murrieta's got one, and Temecula Valley Hospital. They're all the same network. They're UHS hospitals. We've got one of those. We've got a Rady Children's. So we got a lot of healthcare going on. And I'm going to get into that in a bit, but let's start off by seeing what the heck are on my slides. This is our demographics. When you look at Riverside County, I was just, and I survived it, but I was with the state of California today. And when I get to the state of California, I do a lot of advocacy for my region because I feel like the state of California thinks that people are moving outside of California because there's not enough housing. And if we just build housing, then everything will be okay. It's not because of anything the state possibly could have done, right? It's not because we make any mistakes or just drive people nuts and they want to get out of here. People are moving out of the state because we don't have enough housing. So if we just build really dense housing everywhere, then everything's going to be okay, and that's the answer. We don't need to worry about water or infrastructure or roads. It's fine if we put 4 million people in Riverside County and have one 3-lane freeway that takes you to San Diego County. We'll figure it out, right? So I really go off on this. I also go off on the fact that there's one university. We happen to be in an area that has the university. For all of Riverside County, for the 2.6 million people, we have UC Riverside. Where's a Cal State in Riverside County? Not a satellite campus out in the desert that's a spinoff, an actual full campus where you educate the people in your community. Does anybody know what the degree rate is in Riverside County? Think small. Think teens. 19% degree rate in Riverside County. And then you wonder why we get all of this distribution. It's not just the fact that we're near the ports. It's not the fact that there was just land here. The workforce matches. People don't invest millions of dollars and build facilities unless the workforce matches. We are undereducated here, and we're purposely undereducated, and we got to stop that. So we need universities, we need freeways, we need roads. Murrieta's in a good spot. We're very fortunate. Our degree rates are really high. Our average age is 38,000 households. That actually, right now, this minute, either in submittal up to construction, we have 12,000 new households going in. That's like 25% of an already established city with 120,000 people coming in right now. It is a ridiculously crazy amount. Why? Because we had dirt. And where there's dirt, the state goes through a process called a regional housing needs assessment and says, you can fit more houses in. Doesn't matter if you have the jobs to back it up. Doesn't matter if you create a bunch of commuters. We're not building any more freeways. Build it. And we don't have a choice. We get penalized if we don't. You see this in a lot of cities, especially in Riverside County, because the plan is, let's beef up housing in Riverside County because there's dirt. We'll figure the jobs out later. I don't like the plan, by the way. So we've got 36,835 houses. Whew. I thought it was all the drinking I was doing. And our average household income is $139,000. Does anybody think that there's demographics like that in Riverside County? Absolutely not. We have amazingly high incomes. For years and years and years, I'd go to the federal government. I was asking for a grant to do some work in Murrieta to create jobs. And they said, there's no way you'll ever get a grant from us. You're Beverly Hills. And then COVID came and they said, we need to get money out for people who can create jobs. We'll give you money. But in the meantime, we were just seen as way too wealthy in Riverside County to fit in because we had such high incomes. Our education rate with some college or more, 70%. Our college degree rate's 30%, so 30% have bachelor's degrees or higher. Our labor force is 60,000, unemployment rate 4.8. That's the lowest unemployment rate in South Riverside County. Our trade area's got 400,000 people. When you get down to Southwest Riverside County, the whole area's got over 600,000 now. The area's just growing like crazy. And we have a 35-minute drive population? 35-minute drive population. I don't even know what that means. Let's skip that stat. What a silly thing to put on there. 35 minutes means you're going to Temecula. Has anybody been to Temecula? What's your favorite thing to do in Temecula? Wine country's not in Temecula. Wine country is in unincorporated Riverside County. What else do you like to do in Temecula? Oh, that is in Temecula. Now you're talking. That's a good spot. Right. Yes. Well, casino's actually sovereign Indian Nation land. You're close. So Temecula has a lot of resources, does a great job of celebrating all the regional amenities. The cool thing for Murrieta is all those regional amenities are Murrieta regional amenities. We're right next to Santa Rosa Plateau. We're right next to Pechanga. We're right next to Wine Country. We have an access road that takes you right in from Murrieta Hot Springs Road into Wine Country. All of the cool things are right there next to us too. But right in the middle of our city, we also have a hot springs resort, which is pretty cool, and you got to check it out. So we won a lot of awards. There's one. Let's go into businesses. So we're really focused on growing our businesses. This area, like I said, it's growing a lot of residential. What is residential demand? A lot more retail. 6 years ago, we had one hotel. Today we have 6 in our pipeline, applied for, submitted to the city. We have 8 more. So we're really starting to grow in terms of tourism. One thing that's really a great driver for us is of all the amenities that sit in county land and around all the cities, ours is actually right in the center. We have natural mineral springs that run through the Murrieta Hot Springs Resort. It was a gated community for 46 years. Before it became the hot springs that it is now, that opened up last year, it was a Bible college. And then before that, it was a vegan commune. The rule was no phones, no pagers, no meat, and it was almost like the chili that was back there. Well, the one on the left. The one on the right had beef. It was cool. I'm just saying, chili should have beef. And so that opens up and it helps us to start getting a focus on tourism and start to growing our tourism base. Tourism is important to cities. Why? Because cities get to keep all the tax revenue. Every other tax you pay, whatever city you're in and whatever tax rate you're paying, I'm sure it's very high, but not all of it goes to the city. The city gets a 1%. When you pay, if you're in a city that has a 7.75% tax base, the city gets 1% of that 7.75%. If you pay 8.75%, that's usually because they did a tax measure and they get 2% of it. And that's how they help fund most of their programs. Most of the things that cities do come from sales tax. So sales tax doesn't just go to the city, but it's very important. But TOT is the one tax that all goes to the city. That's why cities like hotels. That's why you'll never see a city turn down a hotel. Cities love hotels because all of the tax revenue comes into the city. So they're very important. They also do another thing, which is bring in what's called basic economy. Basic economy is dollars that come in from outside of your town that you didn't create inside your town, that you're not just circulating around one time after another after another. Base dollars come in, like when you manufacture something and ship it out. We're right on the train tracks, aren't we? And so I thought, God, is that you? And so when you get a dollar from a manufacturer who ships something out, that dollar came in from somewhere else, and now it gets to circulate in your economy. When you get tourism dollars, those dollars come in and get to circulate in your economy. So we love those kinds of dollars. That's another thing that tourism does for you. But here's what's going on in Murrieta. Last year we got a Trader Joe's. We have been beaten up for a Trader Joe's by our community for years and years and years. It doesn't matter that we create jobs. It doesn't matter that anything cool comes in. All the residents wanted was a Trader Joe's. There is no success you can have without a Trader Joe's. But for years, Trader Joe's had a rule. Trader Joe says we will only go into large urban centers a mile apart. We want to fill in LA, Chicago, New York. We want to be really close together. That was their rule. That's how they rolled. So they promised us. They said, look, the first Trader Joe's we put in between Rancho Cucamonga and San Diego will be in Murrieta. And then 4 years later, they kept that promise. It was a miracle. Government and businesses working together. Who knew? So we got a Trader Joe's in. Now the population's happy and everybody stopped complaining about anything. Everything's perfect now. It's all happy, happy. But in the meantime, we're filling in our shopping centers. We got a second Home Depot and a second Ross in what's called our Orchard Shopping Center. It's also got a Super Target. We've been getting some cool restaurants. if you ever come down to Murrieta, what I like to say about Murrieta is because we're not Temecula that's got the mall, malls get national chain restaurants. So when you go to a mall, you're going to find the same restaurants you find everywhere else, but the good national chains, good stuff. We don't get any of that because we're the city right next door. We're too close. So restaurants tend to skip an area and go on to the next one. You might find a restaurant in Temecula and then in Menifee, but you probably won't find it Temecula and Murrieta unless it's those restaurants that go everywhere, like Denny's, IHOP, those kinds of places that are all over the place, Chili's. But we tend to skip that. So what do we get? A lot of boutique dining, mom and pop shops. And it is such a cool foodie town. We do a dining guide that only highlights mom and pop restaurants, and it's amazing. You can come down there and get all these really great tastes that you would never try anywhere else. In the meantime, we're getting a few of the chain stuff, but we get really different chains. We just got Lynn's Buffet, an upscale Asian buffet like nothing you've ever had. Because when you first hear it, I think about some of the buffets I've gone into before that are just stacks of fish on the side, and you can smell it when you walk in. This is good, fresh food. They have a fresh Mongolian barbecue. You walk in and all the fresh meat's out there, not frozen, and it is absolutely delicious. The line's around the corner. It came in, it's blown up. It came into a 12,000 square foot building that nobody would fill. We tried to get a Brazilian barbecue place to come look at it. They're like, that's an industrial building. We're not going in that. It wasn't. It was a restaurant, just needed a little decoration. And so we're getting restaurants to come in that we never thought would fill. Capriotti's came in, so we got the first Capriotti's in the Southwest region. Has anybody tried that out of Vegas? Really good sandwiches. They do a Thanksgiving on a bun. No one's tried Capriotti's? My man. So they do a Thanksgiving on a bun, which is like your turkey and your stuffing and your gravy and cranberry all in one sandwich, and it's like 2,500 calories, and it is absolutely killer. So we just got a Du Bois pizza, which is out of San Diego. Really, really good pizza. They make their own Italian dressing. It's fantastic. So we've got restaurants been opening up. We got a Tikka Tikka, which is an Indian cuisine place. We've got expansions in all of our shopping centers. We're one of the cities that still has some room to grow a little bit in expansion. So we've got 2 major shopping centers that are actually coming in right now that are working on doing development plan applications. So there's all kinds of growth going on in our city. And so absorbing the market. So this is just to show that net absorption in the last 12 months, we've delivered 611,000 square feet, but we haven't absorbed it all. And there's some reasons for that we're going to go into. We have a 6% vacancy rate in our city. And this is, oh, I'm sorry, that was the region. That was the larger region. And then when we go to Murrieta, we're beating those numbers. This is commercial vacancy, yeah. So in this room, am I taking it that most of you guys focus on residential? No. Nobody touches residential here, good. Well, commercial can mean anything, but I'm just wondering, is it more of a residential crowd or more of a... Okay. Residential. For the commercial people, do they focus on retail or what used to be called office or warehouse? Do you? You have a warehouse in Murrieta? Well, we got to talk after this. And so, it's what? It's filled. But why aren't we doing more projects? And so one of our biggest challenges, just to go down this sidebar real quick, one of the biggest challenges we have in Murrieta is we haven't been getting any new industrial development. And that's because the areas that we zone for industrial and business park don't have any water. And so we've been trying to work through the water problem. When COVID came and all the cities got ARPA money, we used ours to put into building water infrastructure down the corridors south of CarMax. The CarMax that we have in town is the largest CarMax in America. It's called a super regional center. It was built because we sit right in the center of Southern California. We sit between all the major markets. This CarMax services all the cars from San Diego, LA, Palm Springs, all the way around Southern California. They do it because they sit right in the middle. And so that area, just going south of that CarMax, had no water infrastructure in it. The city put our ARPA funds, we put about a total of $16 million into building out that region so we can bring in sewer trunk lines, water lines, bring the road to grade, and make it a developable area. So I'm really looking for people in the industrial market who want to find a good investment because the land down there has been unbuildable. When I came into the city 9 years ago, I started taking developers out on tours. And I'm like, look, we have a 1% vacancy rate. Here's what our lease rates are. And everybody got really excited. They're like, oh my goodness, we can build here. Until they started taking on all the offsite costs and said, wow, by the time I run the infrastructure in, I can't build here. So we are hoping to overcome that by building some of the infrastructure ourselves. So for people who are looking for industrial opportunities, Murrieta is a great place because we're putting the money in to that market, and it's not our infrastructure, We're building other people's infrastructure just to get it to them so we can get them to develop. So anybody who likes industrial, it's a great place for it. So Murrieta, we've got 6 million square feet of retail. We've got 50,000 under construction. That's a little bit of a misnomer, under construction, but we also have 2 shopping centers that are either entitled or close to entitled. Actually, both of them have been entitled and they came in with some amendments. One is the Triangle. Has anybody heard of the Triangle? It's the area between the 15 and the 215 freeways. There's 65 acres that sits right between the two. Think of like Irvine Spectrum. This is a of the areas where 2 freeways converge like this, 215 ends right into the 15 freeway. This is the last undeveloped one of those areas left in Southern California. How's the access? It's got 2 freeways that run right through it. It's the best access that you're going to find left. You have to just get off the freeway at either exit, 15 or 215, on Murrieta Hot Springs Road. So the opportunity there is huge, and what we're going to get there is huge. It's owned by the Dominigonis. You probably have heard of Dominigoni Parkway. It runs out on kind of the east side. This is a long-term family that's owned this property, and they've partnered together with their lawyer to do a development on the site that we plan to be absolutely spectacular. Think entertainment mall. Think of all the cool things. One challenge Murrieta's had is that we're a city that is very safe. It's Murrieta, by the way, usually the 2nd or 3rd safest city in the country. So very, very low crime rates, and that's for cities of over 100,000 people. So a small township of 400 don't count. But of all the cities in the United States of over 100,000 people, Murrieta finishes. 1 year we finished first, 1 year second. This is FBI statistics. I always say that Irvine likes to come to Murrieta to commit 1 crime because they want to try to beat us. So always a very, very safe place. So that's a real driver for business to want to be in, because when a lot of the state of California was saying we don't worry about crime, Murrieta's still worried about crime. If somebody stole $800 worth of stuff and said we can get away with that because the state's not, we still took you in and held you as long as we possibly could until we had to let you go. But we still treat crime like crime. And now that it's a crime again to steal stuff, we're still on top of it. But Murrieta, very safe city, which is very good for retail because retail wants to be in a safe place. So here you've got this property that's between 2 major freeways, and it's been undeveloped for the last 35 years. People have been hoping to get a project there, and I am constantly out to tell people, and most of the people in our region don't believe it because they've heard about it for so long, that we are going to get it developed, and it will break ground within the next year. And so this will be a property that's going to bring in development and tenants the level of which Riverside County doesn't usually see. And so you will see some of that in Victoria Gardens, some of the higher level developments that you see in Ontario, but stuff that Riverside County, especially South Riverside County, just hasn't seen. We couldn't be more excited to share with you, and I get fired if I say the words. So I can't tell you what's going in there, but really cool stuff is coming to what's called the Triangle, which is between the 15 and 215 freeways, right where the 215 converges into the 15 in Murrieta. So we've got a very exceptional project going there. Then we have another project on the east side. Yeah, go for it. So like I said, I'm hoping they break ground within the next year. They want to have shops open in the next 2.5 years. So, and there's another shopping center that's 550,000 square feet on the east side of town in Winchester, which is really in the Murrieta side of the street. On the other side of the street, you're in unincorporated Riverside County, French Valley, out by French Valley Airport. And so we've got another shopping center of 550,000 square feet going in there. So there's major shopping centers that are coming in the city of Murrieta. And so when you look at these numbers, 6 million square feet of inventory, we're going to be up to 7 million square feet of inventory very soon. And in Riverside County, do you know that each one of you represent like thousands of square feet of retail? There's no place on earth that has as much retail per person as Riverside County. Riverside County is probably the most over-retailed region in the United States. It is an insane amount of retail that we put in, and yet somehow we justify it because people come out here and people shop.